take every offensive swing, and they're also going to have to serve tough. There's less wind inside this court. Their serves aren't going to move as much.
The Brazilians are a good volleyball team. Mimi Marins is a big left side crank. She is 27 years old, resides in Rio de Janeiro, an indoor player. Her partner is a feisty right-sider wearing the white hat, and that is Tachi Minello. She played 6 years in Italy. She actually beat May and Walsh in a tournament with Ana Paula, if you remember them. Ana Paula, a 28-match win streak for May Walsh down the drain. Tachi and Ana Paula getting a win way back when.
And Misty May already covering for her partner by breaking out her jump serve for the first time this tournament.
And down the line tapping is Mimi Marins. So Marins at the net. She'll do most of the blocking, a lot of the hitting. And Tachi will serve.
Go, go, go!
Walsh, nice up. Tachi. And Tachi guides it down the line.
These two, Tachi and Mimi, played an incredible match against May and Walsh in San Diego earlier this year. Lost, I think it was 21-19, 23-21, but they were the ones who first showed all the teams on this tour that maybe the way to go is to try to serve more at Kerry Walsh and less toward Misty May and making her do more of the offense.
Now Tachi to serve again, 2-1, the Brazilians. A little international flavor today. You could say it's Brazil against the United States. We haven't seen that since the 2004 Olympic Games.
Since the gold medal match.
We mentioned that Tachi had beaten May and Walsh with Ana Paula. She has never done it with her current partner, Mimi. They are 0-5. Nice snap. And it's just out of bounds. So Tachi up high. She misses long.
And Tachi is coming back from an injury herself soon after San Diego. It was the next tournament in Cincinnati that she pulled a calf muscle and had to go home back to Brazil for 4 weeks. Spent almost all of that time on crutches. Feels like she hasn't quite gotten her conditioning back.
Yeah, Mimi and Tachi, because of that, have only played in 6 tournaments. They got a 5th, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 7th, a 5th, and they're guaranteed at least a 2nd today. And if they can raise the level of their game, they might have a shot at the $42,000 first prize split. Here comes Walsh. And off the top of the tape. Mimi, tip. May's got it. And the put away.
And boy, during that rally, Chris, Kerry Walsh had to bend way back to hit those last 2 balls. That's exactly the kind of thing that's going to make it toughest on her abdominal strength.
We are underway here in Chicago, our championship final. Brazil against the United States. The Americans, May Walsh leading 4-3 early. The familiar skyline of Chicago, highlighted by the Hancock Building. We're just off Lake Michigan, the mecca of Midwest American volleyball here in Chicago. Misty May and Kerry Walsh with a 4-3 lead on Tachi and Mimi. A solid team from Brazil. Of course, Brazil, one of the world powers in beach volleyball, both men and women.
Especially the men's side, winning the gold medal in beach volleyball last year for the first time in 3 Olympic beach volleyball competitions.
Emmanuel and Ricardo. You might remember those 2 big Brazilian studs that put the hurt on the rest of the world. Now, here's Walsh. Nice dig. And the tip. So Mimi gets the tip.
You mentioned this being the mecca of the Midwest, and it really is. This is one of the longest running events that happened outside of California. When this tour first branched out and left Southern California, it came here in 1983, so 22-year anniversary here in Chicago.
Men started in 83. The first women's competition held in 1984. That tournament won by Linda Hanley and Dale Keough. And the ace down the middle. So a solid serve. If the Brazilians have any advantage in this match, Karch, they serve great.
They are serving a little into the wind, but what Misty May needs to do on this play is lean in more, especially with Kerry hurt. Misty has to try to take more of that middle ball.
And that serve into the net. Let's head down to the sand. The fourth member of our team today is Mike Dodd. Mike.
Thank you, Chris. The Brazilians are really doing a good job of mixing up their serves to Kerry Walsh right now. Going short, going deep, going in the middle, keeping the pressure on. Kerry looks good, though. She looks smooth, and she's taking it easy on her approach, and that's going to help her in the long run. Back up to you guys.
Tachi hits it into the bottom of the net, so the Brazilians making some errors. We're tied 6-6. Walsh. Good serve by her, and it's an ace.
Hit for Tachi on that one with a serve right down the middle. Kerry Walsh getting the ace right back.
Location is key when you're serving, and Walsh finds a good one there.
And this is one that every beach volleyball team has to communicate on. It often helps before the play for one of the players or the other to say, I've got middle or you've got middle, and it didn't appear that they prepared well on that.
7-6. Walsh and May. And the cut shot. A look at the Nissan points leaders for this year. Kerry Walsh and Misty May have it wrapped up. The last regular season event. Wacholder and Young's finishing second. Kessie McPeak, Turner Wilson, Fuamatu Anderson, and Lustre. Kessie McPeak, a golden opportunity to get into the final today. They couldn't do it. They couldn't take down the Brazilians.
They did. They have had to face May and Walsh in almost every semifinal, and this was their opportunity not to have to face that team, but they were upset by the Brazilians earlier, about 2 hours ago.
Kerry Walsh playing in pain, a strained abdominal muscle.
And this is the kind of hit that's going to hurt that stomach because of the snap right there. And you could see her grab her head right at the end of this play. She grabbed her head and what was apparent pain there.
Hit speed 39 miles per hour. She'll warm up and get into the 40s. And Walsh with a block. In semifinal action against Wacholder and Young's, I believe she only had one block for the match. She hasn't been blocking well the last 3 weeks.
And what was amazing is in that semifinal, Misty May did part of the blocking, and she got 2 blocks in the first game alone, more than Walsh was able to get all last weekend in the final. Had 0 blocks when they lost to Wacholder and Young's in Boulder, Colorado.
Walsh attracting most of the serve. She did have 25 kills, 30 of 37, but only 1 block. Walsh is there. And Mimi can't pull it out of the net. So a point for the Americans. Make it 10-7. A 6-1 scoring run now for Misty May and Kerry Walsh.
And these two teams faced each other last week in that tournament in Colorado. May and Walsh winning easily. It looks like the Brazilians haven't quite gotten their rhythm back since that calf injury that Tachi suffered in Cincinnati.
May Walsh defeating Wacholder and Young's in a very intriguing semifinal. They did it in 2 games, but both games went overtime. Kerry Walsh fighting through that pain. And Walsh is there again. So Kerry Walsh with 3 early blocks, and she looks good.
Yes, she does. In fact, it looks like blocking's not hurting that stomach at all. Great reach to her left, taking what we call the angle hit. That'll go into the diagonal corner instead of down the line. Great block by her.
Already 2 more blocks than she had in the semifinal match. 11-7.
Go, get. No.
Misty's there.
Got it.
And chopping back is Mimi Marins. Mimi at 27. Tachi the older at 35. Tachi's been there, seen that, done that. And now she'll serve.
Good. What?
Walsh. And Walsh pumps it through. How much do the Brazilians know about the injury to Walsh, do you suppose?
I didn't ask them before the finals. I was asking them more about Tachi's calf injury, but they had to have seen. They have seen throughout the tournament that Walsh has been struggling and bending over, not just in the semifinals, but earlier also.
Off the top. And Misty will shovel it over. Walsh touched it. The audio is great today, and you can hear the call. If you don't understand Portuguese, listen for linea. Linea, that means hit the ball line.
And the other one would be diagonal, is what they say for what we call a cut shot or an angle shot. But Tachi giving the good calls, the linea. Let's listen. There was the linea, but she did not hit linea that time. She hit the diagonal.
And there's the true linea, and it gets them a point. So the Brazilians hanging in. Early action, 12-9, May Walsh. McDonald's, the richest tournament on tour this year, $375,000 in total prize money. The coach for Misty May and Kerri Walsh is Dane Selznick. Dane is wired up today. Dane, can you hear us?
Loud and clear.
Dane, are you surprised at the start for Kerri Walsh? She looks pretty good despite the injury.
You know, Kerri's a warrior. You know, she wants to win this thing. And she knows she's hurting, and you just have to overcome it. Most athletes, when they're hurt, they usually play with those injuries. And when you're in the heat of battle, you know, you tend to blank those things out of your mind. And the important thing for her is staying behind the ball to eliminate that chance of it hurting anymore, you know, and that's the important thing for her. I keep reminding her, be patient coming in, stay behind the ball so you can see everything, and use a lot more wrist on your finish.
Dane, this is Coach Kirai. What would you like to see Misty do to try and help Kerri out?
Well, I emphasize to Misty that any chance she has on offense, she's got to put the ball down the first time. You know, so we're not worrying about getting it back again, and then Kerri has to put it away for, you know, a play that might happen where she's hitting it twice in a row.
And maybe try to take more of the middle?
Well, help out in that aspect, but, you know, Kerri usually takes that middle play. So it's, you know, we don't want to change what we're so used to doing right now, but it is a good thing to think about, you know, to have Misty take a couple of those.
Dane, Misty May had the pulled stomach muscle going into the Olympics. That was a concern. Does the Walsh stomach muscle compare at all with Misty's problems last year in terms of pain?
You know, it seems like Kerri's hurting a lot more, to be honest with you. Misty is so good at not showing emotion, you know, and it was always tough to get a read on her. Obviously, you guys can see what I see, and that is, you know, when Kerri comes down after a hit, she's, you know, cringing and feeling it when she really goes after the ball. So Misty didn't really show it that much when she had her injury. So, you know, your guess is as good as mine as far as trying to compare the both.
All right, that's Dane Selznick. Thank you very much. We'll check back with you later. Dane Selznick, the coach for May Walsh. His team on top, 15-12. Walsh getting most of the serves. Here's one to Misty. Oh, nice dig. Tachi had it up, and Walsh smacks it down. And that's the kind of spike that gives Walsh a little bit of pain. Game one, Walsh and May leading 16-12.
And on that play, Walsh was trying to actually set it up for her partner, Misty May, to put away, so she would save one extra swing.
We'll return to the AVP on NBC after these messages from your local NBC station. Pulled stomach muscles were bothering Misty May. Remember, she went into the Olympics. She had about 5 weeks off, Karch, and there was concern whether she could play at all.
Well, it was right there at Hermosa Beach that she had strained that muscle, had to rest it and train it for about 4 or 5 weeks. That first practice, it was about 11:30 at night in Athens when they arrived on a Tuesday before the opening ceremonies, came out and looked spectacular, left 6 or 7 demolished opponents in their wake, and won the gold medal easily in a dominating performance.
And Kerri Walsh in similar type pain. There's a block by Misty May and a dig by Misty May. Mimi's got it. And the cut shot is on the line. Nice shot. There is some speculation that Kerri Walsh may have to take next week off if the pain persists.
Yes, she's qualified as one of the top 12 players. Actually, she and Misty are co-number 1 players on the tour, but qualified for the best of the beach format in Las Vegas where the players play with different partners each round to try to see who's the best individual, who's the one who can win with the most different partners. But she has to decide whether she's going to play in that or not.
16-13 our score. May and Walsh ahead. Women's championship final here on NBC. Let's go down to the sand and check in with Heather Cox. Heather.
You guys are talking about whether or not Kerri Walsh will play in Las Vegas. She did tell me right before this match that she is not going to play in that specialty event in Las Vegas. She said there's just too much to risk, too much on the line. The big concern is that the pulled ab will go to a torn ab, in which case the rehab is much more intense. She wants to make sure that doesn't happen.
Thanks, Heather. And one of the problems is that May and Walsh also play overseas. So on open break weekends on the AVP, they're going over to Europe and flying back and forth. And so they're on their 11th tournament in a row without a break. And that's got to take its toll on your body. That would be number 12 next weekend. And it's probably a wise decision to take some time off.
They played 16 tournaments total this season, won 13. Both May and Walsh, the top money winners on the AVP, each has won just over $205,000 so far.
And hoping to increase that by about 10% today.
There you go. Mimi gets the tip. Mimi, the taller of the two Brazilians in the black cap. And Tachi, the smaller of the two.
Mimi was talking about how their coach Marcio allowed her, while her teammate was getting treatment down in Brazil, allowed her to go home and see her daughter Sarah for about 5 days, but she had to keep up her workouts.
Kerri Walsh, as you might imagine, getting all the serves. I'm surprised that the Brazilians have not served better. They've served some hard serves, but they've made some serving errors. 5 already.
Well, every time they've had a tough serve, they go to the short one on the next one, and most of those have gone into the net.
Yeah, right into the net. Here comes Tachi. Misty May right there. Should be a point. And it is point number 20. Misty May in the semifinal matchup against Youngson Walkover. She was spectacular, able to raise the level of her game. And doing the same here.
Absolutely, and this is one of her favorite shots. When she picks up the ball in transition, makes a good dig, she's going to hit line a lot. Here she is, well positioned on the line, and she can either bang the ball down the line hard, or on that, like on that play, softly go over the blocker to the open spot on the court.
Game point number 1 for the Americans, May Walsh. It's off Walsh, out of bounds. Good shot by Tachi. Tachi's gotten a lot of serves in her career. She's listed at 5'6", not unlike another Brazilian star of yesteryear. And of course, that's the great Shelda. You're 5'6", you get served. Walsh for the win here. And she's got it. Kerri Walsh with the tap over the top. And Walsh may win game 1.
And Walsh really has done a great job of not having to hit hard too much. That was a nice soft shot deep. She caught Tachi coming in for the hard hit. Seems like she's able to, so far, take it easy on her stomach and still maybe pull out the win here.
Game 1 in Chicago. The Americans triumph. Game 2 in a moment. Go. The team of Misty May and Kerri Walsh winning game 1, 21-16. Let's go down to the sand. Heather Cox with Misty May for a beach peek. Heather.
And as you guys discussed a year ago, Misty May with the same ab injury that Kerri is suffering now. Misty, because of your experience, how have you been able to help her through game 1 in this final?
You know, she's holding her own, but I think by slowing the game down, taking some of the edge off, she's using more shots than we probably normally see from her, and it's helping her stay up high, and she's using more wrist shots. And you know, we're playing really good at this speed. I don't know what it is, but usually when you're injured, you have to focus more on fundamentals, and I think we're getting back to, you know, concentrating on that.
As we take a look at some of your great plays from game 1, how have you been able to step up to the challenge and really help compensate for Kerri?
Well, they're really serving her. As you can see, Mimi's serving Kerri. I'm trying to put that ball up nice and high for her and just trying to give her the right call. You know, I know she can't swing, so I'm trying to, you know, just communicate with her where the defense is, so it makes it easier on her.
How important is it that you guys do a 2-game sweep to stay fresh in this one?
very important. You know we want it. It's been a long time since we've had a 2-game sweep, so we want to start our, that run again. But, we're going to see. They're going to come out serving tougher, I think, this match. They missed a couple serves because they're just going for it. I know Tachi's going to key in a little more on defense, so we're going to have to make our shots maybe a little more crisp, and you might see the ball start coming to me.
The Brazilians, a team that you're not very accustomed to facing. What are you seeing that you're not used to from American teams?
They serve really tough. They have the strong jump float. Most players on the AVP either go with the jump serve or just the standing float. They've been serving pretty tough, and Tachi's quick on defense. She's a Brazilian Holly McPeak.
Best of luck in the second.
All right, Misty May, 48 career wins. She's 5th on the all-time list, 2 behind legendary Kathy Gregory, who's been the coach up at Santa Barbara for the last 20, 25 years. So Misty May moving up the wins list very, very quickly. She has 48. Kerri Walsh has 45, and they've won 43 together, which is the best of all time.
On the women's side, and who knows, someday if they keep together and keep reasonably healthy for another 4 to 6 years, they could pass the all-time winningest team, St. John Smith and Randy Stokos, with over 100 wins together.
Yeah, I believe they have 115, but that number seems to be changing occasionally, back and forth. Here's Tachi, and she misses. One of the keys for the Brazilians, Tachi has to be able to attack and put the ball down. Let's go down to Mike Dodd, who has more on the Brazilians.
Hey, Chris, I was listening to Coach Marcio during the break of that first game, and my Portuguese isn't that good, but I heard sacando, 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 which means serving. He's talking to them a lot about their location, and obviously they just can't miss 5 serves and have a chance against this team. A lot of serving talk during the break.
Yeah, call the serving coach. There is Marcio Sicoli, the head man for Mimi and Tachi. Start of game 2. May and Walsh lead. That's tied up. May and Walsh tied up with the Brazilians, and now they have the lead.
And that's exactly the kind of shot that Kerri Walsh wants to use to save her stomach. The soft shot over the block. It's called a high line shot. Great pass there. Misty May wants to keep the ball in front of her, and then she just shoots it over into the easy spot. But even that one, she grabbed her stomach a little on.
Walsh and May playing at a very controlled pace because of the injury to the stomach of Walsh. And the big spike by Mimi.
As Misty mentioned in that interview, it seems as though when they have gotten back a little more to fundamentals and just worrying about a good pass and a good set, they've actually been playing a little better as a result. Kerri mentioned before the match that they still only practice together because of their hectic schedule about 3 times in the last 2.5 months.
2-2 here in game 2. Mimi to serve. And dropping off, she cannot handle Kerri Walsh.
But I think that would be a wise strategy. Drop off and play less block and more defense and force Walsh to hit the ball more and see if they can make her exacerbate that injury.
Down the line and the put away. Set was a little shaky. Walsh questioning our first referee. It's Daryl Friesen, the Canadian. The down referee is Ryan McDowell from Colorado.
And here Kerri Walsh is doing one of her favorite strategies. She starts at the net like she's going to block and drops off into perfect position, but wasn't able to stop that ball and make it go forward.
You know, sometimes you're not quite ready when the other player, you perceive a throw or a mismangled ball and you back up. You're not really concentrating. That was a dig that Walsh should have had.
And she usually does.
Here comes Walsh. And she snaps it over the top. So Kerri Walsh, playing with a strained abdominal muscle, is doing very, very well. She has 10 kills, 3 blocks, and 6 digs. She also tossed in an ace for good measure. AVP on NBC will continue. Back to Chicago after this. Walsh leading 1-0. Time now for a Bud Light tournament recap. Kessie McPeak, Walkholder in Young's yesterday. It was an epic semifinal match. Walkholder and Young's, they had some problems. They got discombobulated, playing different sides. Young's going to the right side. Kessie McPeak playing as well as they could play. And I believe this was match point. Kessie getting over the net. Holly McPeak, Jen Kessie. and they get the win. So then today, Walkholder and Youngs, they are up against it. Misty May and Carrie Walsh had trouble converting today, Karch.
Yes, they really did. Rachel Walkholder was hitting the ball into the net and off the tape, and when it goes off the tape, it slows it down enough for the other defender to make a much easier play. Elaine Young's very frustrated. They're yanking the net down.
Our Bud Light tournament recap. Walkholder, Youngs, Kessie McPeak in third. Turner Wilson, another fine finish for them. Ganekashe Leibel playing well every week. They take fifth. So back to the action on center court.
Down the line, 4-4.
Leonard Armato, the commissioner of the AVP, Andy Reef in the middle, and Holly McPeak. Watching the action, Holly McPeak must be thinking, how are we not in the final this week? They got knocked out by the Brazilians in the crossover semifinal, and it was hard serving that really worked them.
Yes, it was, and it was on an outer court where the wind was much stronger, and McPeak and Kessie won game 2 easily, had a lot of momentum, but let it slip away in game 3, falling 15-11. And really, McPeak had to be very happy to get that matchup to finally get to the final, and has to be a little disappointed in letting that loss happen to the Brazilians so they didn't make the final.
Misty, yes. Misty May cranking her 4th kill.
Great soft block here by Walsh, and then making the play, getting no blocker up against Misty May by giving her the ball within 2 feet of the net. Easy put away for May. And we've got the clock on the radar. That one was about 40 miles per hour. But when you consider that we were doing that with the Little League World Series a couple of weeks ago, when you consider that a baseball pitcher pitches from about 60 feet away, you have to increase that by about 4-fold. So really, if you're digging the ball from about 15 feet away, 1/4 the distance, it's like facing 4 times the speed. So that hit is really more like 160 miles an hour fastball coming at you.
So May getting on top of one. There's a good look at Misty. A 2-time Olympian, 5th with Holly McPeak in 2000, and then winning the gold last time around. And Tachi fires one through. Recommendations for the Brazilians at this point in time.
They need to serve the ball harder to Walsh and probably drop their blocker off more and make Walsh hit hard to put the ball away. Challenge her to see if she can hit a few 3 or 4 hard in a row. See how her stomach handles that. Probably not do what they did here and go to May.
Misty May's cut shot. Sweet.
That's the risk they take when they try to serve hard middle, Chris, is that ball blew a little too far away from the middle all the way to Walsh. And again, she's got one of the best cut shots in the business. She looks like she's going to hit it hard, gets the digger, the opposing defender, to dig in just like Tachi did there, and then let the arm stop, and it falls down for the kill.
8-5, May Walsh. Misty's there. Mimi digs it up. And she can't bring it back. Another point for May Walsh. Tonight it's crunch time in prime. Presented by McDonald's. Tonight 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Carrie Walsh playing in pain today. Pulled abdominal muscle may keep her out of action. In fact, Heather Cox reporting that it will keep her out of action next week in a tournament in Las Vegas, the Best of the Beach.
But overall, May and Walsh have to be very happy with it. Coming off of Athens and all the distractions that go along with being gold medalists, they've had a phenomenal season, only lost in 3 finals to Walkholder and Youngs. But it's been a great performance by them. I think they would probably be a little disappointed by it, but when you win all but 3 tournaments, there's not a lot to complain about.
Tachi. Oh, and she shoves it through Walsh. Tachi over Walsh. 5-6 over 6-2 3/4.
But that kind of play is exactly the play where you have to have strong stomach muscles. We'll see them challenge here. Walsh has to use her stomach muscles to push against Tachi there. And that's probably right where she had to give, and she grabs her stomach right at the end as a result. Feeling the pain there.
Our women's championship final here in Chicago. One more look. You don't see Walsh lose many of those. 9-7 our score. Walsh had May won game 1. They lead here in game 2. Mimi to serve. And she rockets it out of bounds. You talked about the distractions for Mae Walsh coming off the Olympics. You won gold medals and had some distraction. What's the biggest distraction when you come off winning gold medals?
Well, I don't think we had distractions like they did. They were on the primetime shows every night from Athens, and 22 to 25 million people are watching them, and they put in such an incredible performance that they made a bigger impact, and as a result, they're getting invited to every video music awards evening, and when you take advantage of a lot of those, as you are tempted to do, it can definitely hurt your training, and you might fall down in conditioning a little, and that may have led a little to Walsh's injury.
Over the top, and Misty May. Kerri Walsh, and she'll go back to serve. And it's going to be 10-9. 10-9, the corrected score, as the Brazilians put on a little mini spurt here. Tachi serving again. Right down the middle. Good serve. And Walsh thumps it down. Good setting by Misty May. Earlier in the season, Misty May was having trouble setting Kerri Walsh. Since Walsh has been getting served, May setting a lot better.
Well, and in fact, Misty May was thinking, well, maybe I should start using my hands. She set overhand all through college, was one of the best setters in the history of collegiate women's volleyball. But it turns out Walsh likes that bump set better, and they made the adjustments, and Walsh has been very effective offensively.
Walsh, deep serve, it's an ace. So the tummy, no problem on that particular play. A wafting lollipop that lands right in the corner.
The problem was the communication, not the loftiness there. And that was way in by about 2 feet. That error by the Brazilians.
Walsh with the ace. Mae Walsh lead 12-9. Heather and Kerri Walsh, the defending Olympic gold medalist. We talked about some distractions for Mae Walsh. Well, Kerri Walsh just recently went on the show called Extreme Dodgeball. Check this out.
She was playing for Team Detroit there. But the thing that Kerri said hurt her most was that she was throwing the ball so hard, not used to doing that very often, that it screwed up her arm swing for a couple of weeks, and it took her a while to get her natural volleyball spike back.
Well, just part of the perks that go with being an Olympic gold medalist. Dodgeball, a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't remember getting any dodgeball offers after we won the gold medal, Chris. It was more the parade in Pacific Palisades.
I think you got to go on the Richard Simmons show. Yeah. That was your reward.
I think I'll take team dodgeball.
12-10 our score. May and Walsh have the lead. Kerri Walsh playing with the stomach muscle, but the Brazilians really haven't been able to exploit it much. Trying to serve hard. That's a good one. Walsh. And Tachi's dig is going out. Let's go down to Heather Cox with Casey. Heather.
Joined by Casey Jennings, who was third in the point standings for the AVP men, also happens to be Kerri Walsh's fiance. And Casey, when you were an indoor player at BYU, you suffered the same abdominal injury that Kerri's playing with now. How do you perform under those circumstances?
Man, it's so hard because it's literally like a hot knife in your stomach, and it's especially when you explode and it goes into everything. I think she's compensating now in her back, so I can tell that her back's a little tired, but she can get through this match, and then she's going to rest for a couple weeks, so she's going to be all right. But it's just, she's a gladiator. She's out there battling, and she's showing so much just strength right now. It's pretty encouraging to all of us when we come up with little injuries here and there. She's dealing with it very well.
You guys have been throughout the season really helping each other with strategy, preparation, advice. In fact, you gave her a lot of advice during the semis. What advice did you give her before she took the court for the finals?
I just told her to don't worry about showing that it hurts. Whatever helps you, temporary relief, whatever show your grief and your pain, and don't worry about it, and then keep playing. But by no means try to act like everything's okay, because it doesn't matter. You're playing great anyway. Just keep doing what you're doing. She's like, okay.
Well, I know how much your support means to her, and congratulations on your great season as well.
Yeah, it's hard to watch her. It's hard to watch, but she's going to finish this up here, and then we'll be done for a while. So.
There you go. Hang in there.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks, Casey.
Kerri Walsh, Casey Jennings scheduled to get married in November, and if I'm giving any advice, I say, Walsh, take a few weeks off and rest up for the wedding. You'll need it. Kerri looks good. She's tapping and lapping.
They're planning a big bash December 4th, Palm Springs. Kerri Walsh doing another great job of just controlling her shots so well there.
Are you going to get invited to the wedding? Have you been invited?
Yes, sir. Haven't you?
No. I haven't.
What did you say on a prior show?
I haven't.
Got to get it one with the source there.
Bet Mike Dodd has. Mike Dodd's going. You're going. Heather's going. A switch sides operation. Walsh and May leading 15-13. We'll return to the AVP on NBC after these messages from your local NBC station. Beautiful day here in the Windy City. $375,000 in total prize money. The Chicago Open presented by McDonald's, and it's a big payday, Karch, for first place. You didn't get that, but you were good in second for 30 grand split.
We had a great semifinal match, and then I guess I got a little too low. My tank got a little too low, and Sean Scott and Todd Rogers played a great match and blew us out yesterday in the final.
Rogers and Scott, the men's champions, and that's the kind of play that can get you going. Tachi serves the ace.
And that's the short serve they've been going for most of the match, but missing into the net. That one barely cleared. That's the one of the rule changes that happened 4 years ago. Now let serves can stay in play. Or
Great,
stay in play.
great deep serve, and a chance to tie it up right here. Mimi for the tie. Couldn't do it. Tell you what. You have to put some steam on your hits against May and Walsh, so they will dig you all day long.
Yes, they will, and I'm still amazed at how much steam Walsh can generate, even with that stomach on that last play. She's grabbing her stomach afterwards, but she knows, look, there's $42,000 to be won here. I got to get the ball down.
A difference of $12,000 per team. Extra $6,000 goes a long way in redecorating.
Pay some of those future college costs once they start having kids.
Here's Mimi. It's 16-14. And Mimi responds.
Boom.
You know, Mimi is normally a pretty good blocker, but no blocks in the match today. None.
And she's showing us a very typical characteristic of Brazilians. They really have kind of a windmill approach, winding their arms way back. It helps them jump more, and they have a much more full arm swing with a lot more follow through. That's very typical of a lot of those.
Hard to beat May and Walsh if you don't block them at all. And that serve is out. They're relying so much on their serving to try to put the pressure on, but not really manufacturing points with the blocker that did.
Well, in San Diego, when the Brazilians challenged May and Walsh so well, they were serving tough. They weren't getting a ton of blocks, but Tachi was getting a lot of great defensive plays, and they were converting a lot of those. She has not gotten those today.
Walsh is there.
Walsh is blocking much better than she did in San Diego. Again, reaching a little to her left. Watch her jump out and then reach back and take the line there. Nowhere for Mimi to go on that play.
Walsh's best blocking match in the last 3 weeks. Got 4 stuffs, some intimidations, and now it's 18-15. The Americans 3 points away from a win here in Chicago. And diagonal, as Karchker, I told you, that's hit angle.
I'll tell you, that's a mouthful to get out. I like cut or angle a lot better than that 4-syllable diagonal, but she got it out, and then Mimi listened to the right call, placed it in the perfect spot, open spot on the court behind the block.
Crunch time for the Brazilians. They need to get it going. That serves out of bounds. So 2 in a row. That is the 8th service error for the team of Mimi and Tachi.
That's got to be one of the 7 sins of serving there, Chris.
8 service errors?
When you miss 8 and 2 in a row for points number 18 and 19 for a team to get to match point at 20.
So May and Walsh just 2 points from victory. Walsh is there. And she taps it through. Kerri Walsh and Misty May. Walsh's 16th kill. And the crowd is up here in Chicago. Championship point. Walsh done a great job moving the ball around. This could be it. Kerri Walsh will serve it. For the championship. Mimi tip. Kerri's there for the win. She's got it! And she bends over in pain. And a hug for Misty. Walsh and May, champs in Chicago. There was some concern that she might not even be able to play in the match. And yet she did and was outstanding.
Capping off a phenomenal season for May and Walsh.
Hi, babe. Hi, trainers. Family. Love you.
They only lost